Churches are known as places of peace, reflection, and spirituality, but things don't always go as planned. In the midst of solemn ceremonies, lively services, and events filled with emotion, sometimes situations occur that go beyond what is ordinary. Some may be funny, others scary, and even dangerous. It is precisely these not-so-religious moments in churches that you will watch today. An unusual scene inside a church drew attention for the bizarre behavior of a pastor and some congregants who performed a sort of ritual to pay their penances in a very strange way. The viral video shows the pastor whipping churchgoers inside the church. In the footage, the worshippers appear lying face down on the floor while the pastor strikes them with a belt, in a context that apparently was part of some type of religious ritual or spiritual correction practice. The case has generated a big reaction on social media, with criticism and questions about the use of such extreme methods in religious practices. This type of action raises discussions about the limits of religious authority and the consent of congregants in situations considered abusive. In addition, there may be legal implications depending on the place and how local laws about physical integrity are interpreted. A peculiar video of a pastor during a sermon went viral on the internet, generating varied reactions. In the footage, the pastor, apparently overtaken by emotion or spiritual fervor, lets out an extremely loud and high-pitched scream, which ends up scaring several people present. Some appear clearly startled, while others react in a more contained or confused way. The comical moment quickly spread across social media, spawning memes, humorous comments, and even creative edits. Although many viewed the event lightly and humorously, it also sparked discussions about the intensity of certain religious practices and how they impact the congregation.
The healings, the fast of the deliverance, the fast...
This discussion is often raised because, although it is supposed to be a serious moment, many people treated it as a joke, mainly after the video was shared and went viral. A curious video of a pastor using a zip line during a service went viral online, drawing the attention of internet users. In the footage, the religious leader crosses the area suspended by cables, passing over the heads of the congregants who are attending the service. The scene mixes surprise and entertainment, with some in the crowd reacting enthusiastically, while others seem perplexed. The pastor's intention may have been to create an unusual way of attracting attention or reinforcing some point in his religious message, but the practice divided opinions on social media and sparked discussions. Many internet users reacted with humor, comparing the scene to shows or theatrical performances, while others criticized the use of such extravagant methods in a place of faith. Another very bizarre and strange scene coming from inside a service shows the moment a lady standing at the front participates in some type of ritual with the pastor, who touches her and leaves her staggering. From what was investigated, the pastor intended to unload the woman, removing all the bad things that might be surrounding her. Because she was apparently heavily burdened, she wobbled in that way under the power of the pastor's words and preaching. He is described as a man who carries the word and consequently God's gift to take care of people and his neighbor. Online, the video was shared and divided believers' opinions. Many found the moment exaggerated and fake, accusing the pastor of toying with others' faith, while others firmly believed in the pastor's power and gift to bless the lady and remove all evil that accompanied her. A young woman managed to secretly record the moment inside a church bathroom when a female religious leader followed her in and approached her to say something rather uncomfortable and embarrassing. In the images recorded by the young woman, we can see her being approached by the leader in the bathroom, who claims that the young woman was far too overweight to wear shorts. That's right, she simply turned to the young woman and had the nerve to say something very prejudiced, which obviously left her very upset. Because of how absurd it was, she decided to film secretly in order to have proof in case she wanted to take the matter further.
She's a chubby girl. She's got a dress on that's appropriate. It comes down to about top of her knees.
So you're sitting here calling me fat?
Oh, you don't think you are?
No, because
The young woman managed to record the leader's words perfectly and then decided to expose her on social media. The case caused a huge stir, and the leader ended up facing a wave of cancellation and moved away from her position because of this. A video circulating on social media shows a peculiar moment inside a church where a congregant appears chained up, participating in a ritual called the Service of Liberation. In the footage, the believer must break the chains that are attached to his body, symbolizing, according to that practice, the release from spiritual, emotional, or even oppressive situations in his life. The scene attracted the attention of internet users, dividing opinions. Some saw the practice as a powerful metaphor for overcoming difficulties, while others criticized the ritual, calling it theatrical or exaggerated. This kind of service is common in some neo-Pentecostal denominations, which use physical symbols to reinforce messages of faith and transformation. A curious video of a religious service went viral on the internet, showing pastors allegedly using the power of God to knock down all the congregants present. In the footage, the religious leaders gesture energetically or lightly touch the participants, who fall to the floor almost simultaneously, as if struck by a supernatural force. The practice, known as slain in the spirit, is common in some Pentecostal and neo-Pentecostal churches. For believers, the phenomenon symbolizes a moment of direct contact with the divine, resulting in an experience of liberation, healing, or spiritual rapture. However, the scene also drew criticism and became fodder for memes online, with many questioning the authenticity of the reactions or treating the moment as humorous. This type of ritual often divides opinions, generating debates about faith, psychological influence, and performance in religious practices. A driver was spotted by some people driving erratically and dangerously in the parking lot in front of a church, and the result was surprising. In the images, the vehicle appears out of control, skidding and sliding around the area, until the driver lines up with the church, which was named Open Door. However, the door was actually closed at that moment, and the driver simply threw the vehicle against the church doors, breaking them in completely. Fortunately, the car soon stopped and did not cause further damage. The driver emerged unharmed, and no one was in his path. Footage from a person on the other side, as well as from the church's security cameras, was shared and went viral. Many people made jokes about the church bearing the name Open Door, when in reality its doors were closed. Steven Anderson is an American pastor known for his controversial and inflammatory opinions. He has recently come under scrutiny due to allegations of abuse by his own children, and when questioned about the matter during a church service, he became very irritated. In interviews, his children described an environment of physical violence and emotional manipulation within the family. For example, Miriam Anderson, one of the daughters, reported severe punishments from childhood, including physical aggression and verbal abuse by her parents. During a sermon in his church, a congregant raised the subject, and Steven did not like it at all. He responded with a harsh tone, frightening everyone present, which only worsened his situation. After all, the recorded moment spread widely and further reinforced the accusations that he was extremely strict and severe with his children.
This church is not a free-for-all. This isn't an open mic. This isn't a karaoke bar. Okay? I'm the man of God here. I meet the qualifications. I run this church, and if you don't like it, then get out.
Additionally, Anderson has a history of controversial statements and hate speech. His sermons frequently include remarks that are hostile toward LGBTQIA+ groups. He has already been banned from various countries due to these extremist positions that tarnish his image. Nicole Mitchell is a former pastor who made a controversial transition from religious leadership to producing adult content on OnlyFans. She became known for her decision to leave Christian ministry, where she served as a pastor in an evangelical church, to pursue a career in adult entertainment. Mitchell has publicly explained that her shift was motivated by a search for authenticity and self-acceptance, as well as stepping away from the restrictions and expectations imposed by her former life as a pastor. She shared feeling a disconnect between her personal beliefs and the norms of the church, which led her to explore new forms of expression and freedom. Her decision generated mixed reactions. Many supported her for having the courage to follow her own desires and free herself from religious expectations, while others criticized her, seeing her transition as a betrayal of the religious values she had once upheld. Mitchell, for her part, has spoken openly about how transitioning to this new lifestyle made her feel more authentic and comfortable with herself. She also uses her platform to speak about topics such as sexuality, identity, and the pursuit of a lifestyle that respects her own needs and desires. A church ended up looking more like a boxing ring when two women confronted each other and began fighting there in an intense and aggressive way. It all starts when one of them is shown in a church room recording content for social media. Moments later, the other appears and, upon seeing what is happening, seems irritated by the situation. They begin to argue right then and there. The argument escalates and things grow more tense until the woman who is inside the room runs toward the other, attacking her and pulling her by the hair, and the two engage in a very aggressive physical fight. Moments after the fight begins, other people in the church hear that something is wrong and rush to check. When they arrive, they find the women fighting and manage to break it up. During a baptism performed inside a church, a bizarre moment occurred when a participant simply experienced an electric baptism. In the footage, he appears being readied for baptism in a large tub of water. A microphone is placed right beside him so that the pastor's words could be heard, and that was the main issue. After all, because of the pastor's movement to immerse the participant in the tub, the live microphone ended up touching the water, giving both the participant and the pastor a big shock, and they had to be helped in what becomes a rather tense scene. According to information, the participant received a shock that caused cardiac arrest, and he lost consciousness. He was quickly taken to the hospital, and the doctors there managed to stabilize him, but he remained in serious condition and suffered some after effects. During a mass celebration at the church, the choir was singing one of the hymns in a moment of peace and faith, when suddenly a noise, let's say a very strange and far from conventional one, took over the atmosphere. In footage from a worshiper seated in the back, we can see the exact moment when the people who were there seeking forgiveness ended up getting a big stinker instead. Jokes aside, that's exactly what happened. Someone who was there simply passed gas in a very loud way, causing surprise and even laughter among several churchgoers. The video of the exact moment of the fart made many people suspect that the man filming the scene might have planned everything. After all, it makes no sense to record a mass in the way he was doing, unless he was expecting something to happen. A pastor was doing a live stream that he regularly hosted with his followers, showing something related to, let's say, the dark side, when he ended up being caught by what some would call a divine intervention. In the footage, the pastor appears offering some advice and talking about the devil. To illustrate, he shows a soft little ball with a demon figure on it. Angrily, he squeezes the ball, which seems to be one of those stress relief toys many people use to calm themselves. But what initially looked amusing turns tense and strange when the crucifix on the shelf behind him suddenly falls without anyone touching or pushing it. Noticing what happened, the pastor is visibly startled, and of course, those watching had the same reaction. The moment was cut and shared on social media, where many people believed it to be a divine intervention, given that the pastor was speaking about the devil. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.